So today I'm going to be doing something a little different today. I'm not going to be reacting to any TV show or series today, but I'm going to be unboxing a certain product that relates to one of the TV shows that I do react for this channel, and that is Fallout. And here I have with me the Pip-Boy 3000 Mark V. Now, I've been waiting for this thing for maybe about a little under a year, so quite a while, but it's finally here. It finally came after all this time, and it took a while because on the website that I got it from, there was a first shipment and second shipment, and there had to be a certain date that you had to order this thing by to be the first shipment people. But unfortunately, I ordered this thing a little late and was the second shipment. I believe the first one was in January and the second one was in March, and this thing literally arrived like yesterday, and I'm super pumped to unbox it for you guys. So here's the box that it came in. I'm not going to show the side because that has my address on it, but it had the Vault-Tec sticker on here, which I unfortunately cut through stupidly. But, the box design is pretty nice, whatever. But I don't like how the Vault-Tec sticker is, like, literally plastered right on the outside of that box because I feel like it's has potential of attracting porch pirates, so... But fortunately, I was able to get home in time and get this thing in the mail after I got home. So it was all smooth sailing. But let's go ahead and open this thing. It's pretty cool. Look at that. It is just wonderful. Very high quality box. So slides off just like this. And I did open this before and set up the Pip-Boy, just so I can, know how to use it and review it and be straightforward with it, rather than trying to learn how to use it in front of the camera. I thought that'd be pretty boring for you guys. But when you open the box, you're gonna get you're gonna see an instruction manual, which I haven't opened. I'm not planning on opening this thing whatsoever. I think it's just too nice. I think I'm just gonna store it. But you got the Wand Company there. That is the company that made this, which is pretty cool. And when you open this thing, you're gonna see like a styrofoam-ish like casing, which is awesome. And when you open it, you're gonna get a USB-C cord, which is meant for charging your Pip-Boy or plugging it into your PC. I don't know why you would do that. I guess you could hack the Pip-Boy or add some features to it. I don't know. But when you open the box, it's not gonna look like this. There's gonna be a plastic cover over this. It's gonna look a lot more neat than what I'm presenting to you guys. But just to give the idea of what you're gonna get. So first off, we have the stand, which I think is just awesome. So it is metal, very high quality, nothing cheap. So here's the stand, which I'm gonna put on the side, and I'm gonna attach this this bad boy later. But when you take it out of the box, here is the Holy Grail Pip-Boy that I waited for so long. The video really doesn't do justice for this thing because it is really high quality. I love the detail of it. When you take a closer look, it has those black skid marks, like the wear marks, as if this thing were used. Now, in the product description, it does mention that the wear marks, the black paint, can come off easily with, I think, with a towel and rubbing alcohol, and I think you could just take it off to give it that brand new look. But honestly, I don't really plan on doing that. I think this thing looks great and beautiful the way it is. So taking a closer look at it, there's the screen, very high quality screen. Now, also in the product description, the title of the product, it does say that this Pip-Boy is die-cast metal. Now, the only part of this Pip-Boy that's really die-cast metal is the front, the interface, I guess. But the front is really what gives this Pip-Boy the weight. The bracelet part is plastic. Just by tapping it, you hear it's plastic. It is a high quality plastic, so I'm not too worried about any damages in the future for using this, wearing it. But it's kind of a disappointment because I was really expecting this whole thing to be die-cast metal. But I guess if that were the case, this thing would be really, really heavy, because having this part, the front part, only be die-cast metal, it's already heavy enough. So I guess that's kind of the silver lining to this. But taking another look, there are some just like the game and the TV show, you got the dial here. So you got the stats. What else is there? The inventory, the the data, and the map and the radio, which I will go over when I turn this thing on. And you also got to dial up the top, you know, when you're selecting stuff in the Pip-Boy. And there is a dial on the left here as well. You got your volume adjuster right there, which is pretty neat. And you also have the radio selector here, which honestly, turning it does, I mean, I feel like the turning, it feels kind of cheap. I don't really know how to explain it, but you know, it does really work. I thought this part really didn't have a function, but this is the dial that you would use to switch radio stations, which I will also go over later in this video. And on the back of the Pip-Boy, so this is how you charge the Pip-Boy from that with that USB-C cord that I showed you. This is like one of the coolest things on this Pip-Boy, honestly. This is a really cool feature because you know, just like the movies in the game, to access the vaults you would use this thing, but yeah, in reality you would charge the Pip-Boy by plugging in the USB-C cord there. And in order to open the Pip-Boy, just like the actual thing, there's this little kind of like thing right there, a little hinge, kind of like what you would see on a lunchbox, just like the same thing on the game. And it would open like that. And inside the Pip-Boy, you got like a memory foam, like leathery type of fabric here. I don't think it's leather, but it's a nice memory foam fabric, and it's really comfortable, I gotta say. So I'm gonna try this thing on for you guys and let you know how it feels. Now, one of my biggest concerns while, you know, when I pre-ordered this thing, one of my biggest concerns was whether this thing was actually going to fit me. Now, you know, they say it's a wearable piece, but I didn't know if this thing leaned more towards a display piece rather than a wearable item. But the answer is it works either way. I think, you know, I'm not going to lie, I'm a relatively skinny guy. I have a skinny wrist, but I mean, kind of muscular, like I've been working out kind of, but I have a relatively skinny wrist. And even so, especially with the memory foam padding, this thing fits extremely well. I got to tell you, I honestly thought that this thing would be, you know, I thought I'd be able to take this thing off just by pulling it off, but that is not the case. I'd really have to try with all my might in order to get this thing off without even opening the hinges here. But it does wobble a little bit, so if you're really, I'm not worried about that at all. I kind of just think of it as an oversized bracelet. And, you know, I wear some watches, some bracelets from time to time, and they do the same thing. They wobble around. So that's not really a big deal for me. But if you want, there is a way to work around that. You can either, you know, put like a little leather or like maybe even a t-shirt around your wrist, thin t-shirt, and, you know, just kind of tuck it under there. Maybe you could do that. But for me, I feel like if I just wore a long sleeve tee or even perhaps a hoodie, I feel like this thing would fit very, very well and a lot more sturdy. But here it is on my wrist. I wish I could position myself better, but here it is. Looks pretty cool. I feel like if I move it up my forearm, it fits a lot better. But I feel like just having it here, it's cool. It fits really, really well. And like I said, the front part really does take a toll on the weight. You know, if I go like this, it's obviously gonna lean a certain way. But if I just kind of have it dangling like this, it's fine. It feels great. I love it. All right, so now I'm gonna take this thing off and I'm gonna show you guys how it looks on that stand that I showed you. So taking this, it's very simple. So this thing, this little piece right here is where the you know, the USB-C port is. So you take this out and you basically stick this in the little USB-C port holder or whatever you call it. Stick it in there. You take the USB-C port and you stick it. You stick it in that hole right there. You just slide it right in. That is what it is going to look like. I think I put it in the wrong way. I don't know. I kind of just winged that, to be honest. This is the first time I'm putting it on the stand. But you have it here. Looks really, really cool. Now I'm just gonna tilt this camera down. Now I'm gonna show you what it looks like on that stand. So in order to turn this thing on, it's very easy. All you gotta do is press that this little button here. And when you boot it up, it's actually gonna, you know, do all that, just like the video game. That is just awesome. Look at that. So we got all that. It does have that cool sound effect to it. But when we take a look at here, we have, let's go from the left on down. So we got our stats right over here. And this is just a little kind of gimmick. You know, it doesn't really scan your overall health. It's just a little thing. Like I said, it's just a replica. But when you use the dial, you can actually change the status of your character. Now, when you turn the dial on right here, when you turn it to the right, establishing connection, that doesn't really do anything. It's just, like I said, just a little display, some cool, just a little animation to make it feel like the real thing. And when you turn to the right, not sure what this is about. Pretty sure just a little thing, just a little display aesthetic thing that they added to this. No actual function. But when you turn to inventory, you got the, you know, I guess, yeah, I don't really know what this is called. It's terminal. I don't really know what this does. This really hasn't done anything. I think this function is to connect your USB to your PC or something like that, but I haven't really tested that out. Like I said, I got this a couple days ago, so I'm still testing some things out. But we also have the rad meter here. Let's take a look at that. That's pretty cool. It doesn't really work, like I said, but it makes that sound, and it also has this little meter here on the right. It doesn't actually move, doesn't really work, it just lights up. But regardless, I think it looks pretty cool. We also have your apparel. Now, it just tells you a bunch of all this stuff. But then we also have aid, which is, yeah, just, like I said, another display thing. Just a little gimmick to make it seem real. But the only actual thing that has a certain function is the clock. Obviously, this is a real working clock. I got the date set and the time set already. And when you get the stats, so this is just, you know, pretending to open a vault door. That's pretty cool. Ready? Yep. And connected. Yada, yada, yada. And it says connected. Ooh, cool. Yeah, vault key accepted. Yada, yada, yada. But you also have the map, which is also pretty cool. Gives you fake coordinates as to where Will Zig's head is, just like the TV series, but obviously it doesn't really work. That's also another disappointing feature about this. I honestly thought it'd be like a really cool GPS thing. I thought it'd be real. Would have been cool if it was, but unfortunately that's not the case. Now, turning this down to the radio function, this is probably one of the coolest features on here, an actual useful feature that exists on this device, and that is the FM radio. Now, if I actually turn this on, you would press on this little knob on the left, and it would immediately turn on to a station. It is kind of, you know, staticky. I think that was done on purpose to make this Pip-Boy seem legit. But you can also turn, this is where the radio dial that I mentioned previously, this is where it kind of comes in. So you turn this, if you want to change a station, if you want to move up a station, then you would click that, and the station would go up one by one. And if you want to go down, then obviously do it the opposite way. And that's pretty cool. Now I'm gonna go ahead and turn this radio off for you. And one last feature that I think is pretty cool is a little flashlight feature. Nothing huge, but basically just turns your screen green, and I guess in the dark that'll be good. You know, you just point your screen at a dark area. That's also pretty cool. But overall, the radio and the clock is, oh, and also one more thing about the clock. You can actually set an alarm here. And in order to configure your settings overall, I forgot to go over this, you would go to, well, not there, but you would go shift over to maintenance, and you have all these little settings here. So you can actually go down, and you could set the alarm here. You know, the brightness, I set it to 18, a demo mode. About this device, you could also restart it. The reboot option is probably one of the first things you should do, because when I got this Pip-Boy, I don't know if anybody else has experienced this. So for any of those who are watching this video who already own one of these, Please let me know in the comments if you've been experiencing some sort of glitch. I've had some occasions, not recently, but a couple occasions the first time I got this, where the screen was just like kind of glitchy. There were some freezes. I didn't know the reason for it, but I pressed that reboot button and it all worked out in the end. So hopefully that won't happen in the near future or the years ahead. So overall, I think this Pip-Boy is pretty dang cool. I love the way it looks. I love the way it feels. I love the way it fits around my wrist with ease, without any sort of loose fitting or any worry that this will slip off or something like that. But I would give this thing an 8.5 out of 10, and I don't give it a 9 or even a 10, mainly because they freaking deceived us in the product description, or maybe I just missed it, I don't know. But the whole thing is not die-cast metal, only the front part is, and the rest is plastic, so I think that was kind of a letdown. And the other reason is, I literally just got this thing and it's already starting to glitch. I don't know if it's because it's, breaking in, because it's new and everything, but it's not the best first impression, in my opinion. I really hope that, because this isn't like an iPhone, you can't just take this down to your local, technician store. Or maybe you can do that, but I seriously doubt that, fixing this is going to be worth it if, the system were to actually break and not work eventually. So I really hope that doesn't happen again, because that gave me quite a scare because just got this thing. I really want it to last long, and it's just great. Now I'm going to put it on one more time because this thing is pretty dang cool. It just makes a really cool display piece. Just clip it on like so, and this thing just looks freaking awesome. Wow, look at that. Now, in order to turn it off, you could either press it once and it will go into hibernation mode, or you can turn it on again and it does make that noise, or you could just hold that button there and it will shut off just like so. But overall, get yourself a Pip-Boy. This thing is probably one of the coolest things that I've ever gotten. But get it while you still can, before the scalpers do and, reprice this thing for like thousands of dollars. But the Pip-Boy, everyone, it's awesome. It was worth the wait. Thank you very much, guys. I'm going to try wearing this while I react to the Fallout series for you guys. But thank you guys for tuning in to this very special video today, and I'll catch you guys next time. Have a great day.